Welcome once again to another edition of Hude Hour right here on Hude Network. We are bringing you issues within the humanitarian and development space. I remain, as always, Amadine Ugbewe. Welcome.
And I am Joan Eze. Thank you for joining us. You're welcome.
Hello, Joan. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing as well?
I'm good. Are you excited
Yeah.
about what we're talking about today?
I feel so excited because this is my, will I say welcome home? Welcome to my abode. Well, it's something I look forward to.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Joan also dabbles in fashion designing.
You can say that again.
Indeed. So we're talking about the fashion industry today.
Yeah.
Africa's fashion industry is bursting with talent, creativity, and potential. But like everywhere else in the world, it's also grappling with the environmental cost of fashion, especially the rise in textile waste and unsustainable production practices.
Fast fashion's global surge has created a culture of disposability. Clothing is being made and thrown away faster than ever, and much of that waste ends up in countries across the global south, including here on the continent.
Today on Hude Hour, we explore how African designers are rethinking fashion, using local innovation and traditional knowledge to tackle textile waste and build a more sustainable future for fashion. But first, our headlines. Chile moves to curb textile waste with new regulations. Environmental groups demand action on textile waste dumping. Well, we'll dive into this and more after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Globally, the fashion industry is responsible for up to 8% of greenhouse gas emissions. It also consumes a staggering 215 trillion liters of water every year, and that is equivalent to 86 million Olympic-sized swimming pools.
Many of the chemicals used in textile production are harmful to both people and ecosystems, and yet clothing production continues to rise. Between 2000 and 2015, it doubled, while 92 million tons of textile waste is generated every year.
But experts say that doubling the lifespan of clothing could reduce emissions by 44%. Local designers across Africa are responding by creating clothes from recycled materials, reviving repair cultures, and designing with durability in mind. Reducing fashion waste isn't just about changing consumer habits, it's about reimagining the entire system. We'll break this down after the break. Don't go anywhere. Now, straight to our first news item. Environmental groups across Africa are calling for urgent policy action to stop the growing influx of textile waste overwhelming the continent. The Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives, Gaia Africa, and the Green Africa Youth Organization, GAIO, say the fast fashion industry is driving an environmental crisis under the guise of second-hand clothing donations. In Ghana's Kantamanto market alone, about 15 million used garments arrive every week, mostly from the global north. Many of these items are unsellable due to poor quality and end up dumped in landfills or burned in open sites, causing severe pollution. In cities like Accra, the consequences are visible: clogged drainage systems, increased flooding, and polluted coastlines. The Agbogboloshie area has become a major dumping ground for textile waste, while waves along Ghana's coast wash up discarded clothing instead of seashells. The influx also threatens Africa's local textile industries. The constant supply of cheap second-hand imports reduces demand for locally made fabrics. forcing artisans and manufacturers out of business. Gaia Africa and Gaio are calling for a ban on unmarginable textile waste imports, extended producer responsibility for fashion brands, investment in local sustainable textile industries, global consumer awareness to shift demand away from fast fashion. In 2023, the top exports of clothing included the United States with $1.06 billion, pardon me, China with $681 million, Germany with $338 million, and the United Kingdom with $327 million, much of which ends up in African countries unequipped to manage the waste. Advocates say the current trade system amounts to waste colonialism, with Africa bearing the burden of fashion waste created elsewhere. They are urging governments and corporations to take responsibility and enforce stronger regulations. And I think this pretty much sums it up. These groups are calling for more regulation to ensure that when it comes to clothes or things being brought into the country, African countries shouldn't now be seen as dumping grounds, because it might seem as benevolence, but some, as stated in the story, it's almost as though it's a fashion colonialism or textile colonialism, where you seem to allegedly be doing good, but the good causes a lot of harm, especially when you are sending things that are not good enough to actually be reused. And so basically what you're doing is dumping it, because the person or the people you're sending it to can't use it. Now they have to get rid of it. And it has left your own shores. We don't have to worry about the environmental effects of getting rid of it. So other regulations, the groups Gaia, calling for more responsibility for fashion brands, calling for regulations, calling for reduction in imports of particularly items that are not perhaps biodegradable, reusable, recyclable. And these are all fair demands to make at the end of the day, because what Ghana is going through now, it's almost unprecedented. And I think that is what we want to avoid happening across other countries, or if it is happening in other African countries, to minimize and start to take a look back and see how we can solve these issues. Because at the end of the day, it makes no sense for a continent, the global south, to then depend or be at the mercy of whatever happens in the global north.
Like I said, welcome home. This is my jurisdiction, and it has a positive and a negative side. And of course, we're trying to tackle the negative side and make sure that people transit from fast fashion to durable fashion. And it's something that needs to be really, really talked about. You've talked about the angle of dumping ground and the whole regulations and all. But let's come into the angle of the consumers, the people that are actually producing or getting this particular fashion. We have people that come into the system and tell designers that I don't want to rewear this. I don't want to. I just want to wear it once. Or it's that mindset of I don't like to repeat clues. I feel guilty about it though. But anyways, we learn every day. It doesn't show that you have powers, or it shows that you're not sustainable. You are actually contributing to the environmental disaster that we have. So anytime you want to make a dress for yourself, or have a particular fashion sense, you should be sustainable in your thoughts and also in your designs as well. It should also help you. So I think it involves everybody. Everybody's hands should be on deck. Both the regulations should also stand. It's not just all about making them, but to ensuring that those policies are there to ensure that a lot of clothes do not trespass and do not cause more havoc to the society. Come on, we are actually talking about green here, and in every situation we have to be green.
Indeed. We will go on a break now, and when we return, we'll delve into our next news item. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You're welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Chile is stepping up efforts to tackle its growing textile waste crisis by adding clothing to its extended producer responsibility law. The move requires importers to report the volume of used clothing they bring into the country and will soon mandate measures for reuse, repair, and recycling. With more than 90% of textiles sold in Chile being imported, the country has become the world's fourth largest importer of second-hand clothing. It brings in an estimated 123,000 tons annually, much of which ends up in open dumps in Atacama Desert, where piles of discarded garments are burned or left to rot. The updated law aims to hold producers accountable for the environmental impact of fashion waste. A national policy on textiles and circular economy is also being developed with a goal to eliminate illegal textile dumping and reduce pressure on vulnerable regions like Alto Hospicio. Chile's EPR law, in effect since 2017, previously covered categories such as tires, batteries, and plastics. Adding textiles marks a significant step toward regulating fashion waste and promoting sustainable consumption and production in the country. At least we have seen that there is a regulation, and that is very, very important. It's just connecting with the first news item we had, speaking about regulation, the importance of it, because I feel where there is no law, there is no order, there is no connection, and there is no understanding of the gravity of things. So when this law is being done in Chile, at least the importation will be reduced, will be regulated. And you can see that they ranked fourth in as at 2021. They ranked fourth in the world as, you know, the most largest country in importing second-hand clothing, and it's not something that one should be proud of. Just like the news item actually said, some of them come into the country and they just stay somewhere in the desert, in Atacama Desert, and they just stay there and rot. Some of them get burned. And you know, whenever you're burning a heap of clothes with the chemicals, everything that is being used to produce those clothes, it goes up to the sky, and you know what that causes, climate change and all. So it's something that we need to take cognizance of and make sure that we tackle this particular problem so that we can have a greener environment and, you know, still have a good fashion sense as well.
Indeed. At the extended producer responsibilities, there also puts the burden on importers to note how much they're importing, to also ensure issues like reuse, repair, recycling. Yeah. So I believe these responsibilities, at the end of the day, people want to make profits and it's fine. But you have a responsibility, as it states, extended producer responsibility and a duty to both the nation and to the earth. So whatever you do, you must take the responsibility to ensure that you're not harming the environment. And that is why these regulations are meant to help. They are meant to help get to the point where these importers, particularly in the fashion sense, get to take on this personal expectation to do things the right way and not just be entirely profits oriented or profits focused. And also, what's interesting is also to see that this is a kind of policy that has always existed or existed for other sectors, but now fashion is now becoming a new addition, and it's timely because, I mean, just the other day, the World Day for Zero Waste, it was targeted as ending fashion waste, you know. And, you know, something we said earlier also, which the UN says, just getting 44% increase in the lifespan of clothing can drastically increase, you know, the lesser emissions and then makes the environment much better. So I think it's good for Chile to see the need to make these regulations to save the country and save everyone else at large.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go on a break now. When we return, we will be joined by a guest. She is the founder and creative director at La Suerta Fashion, talking about Anne, pardon me. She joins us just after the break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hude Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hude Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hude Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Culture connects us beyond borders. It's a bridge between traditions, creativity, and the future.
Culture is alive, shaping identities and communities every day.
Art tells stories of resilience and vision.
Artists blend tradition with innovation.
Cultural preservation creates sustainability and empowerment.
Culture evolves and adapts.
Music and dance unites communities through movement.
And right here, in the heart of our cities, artists and creators are keeping these cultures alive.
On Culture Cove, let's explore,
Celebrate
and preserve the arts and culture that define us. All right, welcome back. This is still Hude Hour right here on Hude Network. We've been joined now by the creative director and founder of La Suerta Fashion, also La Suerta Foundation, and Enebe. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you for
All right,
having
so
me.
it's meant to be a quick fire episode, so we're going straight into it. What can you tell us about circular fashion and the need to reduce waste? As someone who's in the business, before you came, we already talked about all the waste happening, about 8% of emissions from the waste from fashion industry, and so much more, so much water being consumed, so much waste, even third world countries suffering from it. So can you tell us about the need to reduce this waste and how to go about it?
Okay, so when we talk about circular fashion, we are definitely pointing to the fact that waste needs to be reduced. So we're looking for sustainable ways to reduce this waste. And I always use my fashion house as an example because I see the amount of waste we generate in terms of fabric waste. We generate tons of waste every other week. And this is just my fashion house. And you know how in Nigeria, there are so many fashion houses. So you can imagine the amount of waste that is generated in all these places. And I also think of the fact that what happens to these wastes when they are generated, because first of all, they're very harmful to the environment. So I would say that there's a huge need to reduce the waste that we generate. Now, circular fashion is enlightening people and telling us, how do you come up with ways that you can discard these wastes that they will still be useful to people? So these are the things that I think, the circular fashion.
So let's
is
dive
about.
into it.
Okay,
You talked about sustainable ways.
Yes.
So what are those ways? I want you to break it down.
Okay, so this waste we generate, how can you reuse them? How can you make outfits out of them? So instead of throwing them away, for me, is no waste is waste because there's so many things we can do. I mean, you can make dresses out of this waste. You can make shoes, you can make bags, books, hair ruffles, so many things. So instead of throwing them away, let's convert them into things that can be useful.
Okay.
Is that what your foundation is
That's
about?
what my foundation is about.
So I'm interested in also the fabrics themselves.
Yes.
Do you have anything to tell us about the actual fabrics being used, sourcing, materials, and all of that?
Okay, so talking about Nigerian fashion, basically, I'll first say because of how the world is evolving, and somehow I don't say we're trying to copy modern fashion because a lot of times, if you look at fashion, we have kind of almost forgotten our heritage, which is kind of where Nigerian fashion is meant to really be on. But now, everybody is buying laces, everybody wants to make their dresses look really foreign. And these are where these fabrics mainly come from. Before, people used to use ashokes, ashoke raffia, and those were like the main things. Every culture has something to deliver. Every culture has a unique dress code or fabric. But now we're looking at foreign, buying fabrics from China, Turkey, and all these places. These are some of the places that the fabrics are gotten from. Now, these fabrics are heavily, some of them, especially the recent ones we use, heavily stoned, heavily beaded. When you look at these fabrics, they are non-biodegradable. You cannot just throw them away because they're very harmful to the environment. So we have these fabrics and we're trying to see how we can kill the life out of it. And that's why I'm advocating for recycling, upcycling, reusing. If you use these fabrics, give it back to people or give out to people that need these things till they wear and convert it into anything possible to just finish the life of the fabric if possible.
All right.
I'm
Let's.
not sure I answered your question. Did I?
Yeah,
Okay.
you have. Okay, so I have two questions in one. So the first one is, how has circular fashion created jobs for other people? And secondly, what are those steps you've done to re-educate consumers? Because before we started the interview, we're talking about how your customers, what you say to them about circular fashion. So how has the journey been in re-educating consumers on circular fashion?
Okay, so for me, it's first of all, telling people to go back to our heritage. Let's go back to how we used to weave clothes, First of all, these are natural ways to make fabric. And also, circular fashion, how it has created jobs is because waste is converted into useful things. In converting those wastes, there are people that would have to do the job. For me, my hub, my foundation is going to launch a hub very soon where we would have shoemakers, artists, tailors, different people, just creatives in a space, converting waste. I even have someone currently that is already working on using fabric to make tiles and so many other things. So I feel like if there's more awareness and people know that waste can be converted into these things, there'll be job opportunities. Because I feel like there are so many creative people out there, but they just don't know. So lots of awareness has to be created. For me, when you come into my store and I make a dress for you, I'm telling you straight up, do you want to donate the leftover fabric to charity? That's one way. Because sometimes people come and they're like, oh, I don't want the leftover because I'll never wear the dress again. I've heard that so many times. And then I also let them know that, this dress, you can also give it to people in need, or you can change your style, or you can just donate it. I just tell them ways that they can help to reduce the waste that we generate.
Indeed. It's very interesting to hear, especially when you talk about creativity. I've seen a number of artworks that came from waste and all of that. So, and something that I personally noticed about fashion designers like yourself is how the ingenuity of what you can do. I had a friend who's a designer once who turned her mom's old skirts into something completely. I was like, how did this transform into this? So
Yeah.
that's the innovation we're talking about. But are there any other practices other than recycling that you encourage? Like I heard one of your talks where you talked about Ashrebi
Yeah.
doing something about, I think it was a question that was posed to the audience. How many of you rewear?
Yeah.
And the response was quite interesting. So what other practices do you encourage?
I'm a firm believer of having what you need in your wardrobe. I don't believe in buying everything and just like storing stuff in your wardrobe.
Hoarding.
First of all, if you have the mindset that yes, privilege is there to have some of these things, but there are less privileged people that cannot even have this clothing. So while you have clothes that you wear maybe once in a year or once in 2 years, when you think of the fact that there are people that cannot even wear good shoes, cannot wear good clothes, I think that should give us a reset and a mindset. So I would say it's something I also practice. Put what you need in your wardrobe, And when I'm shopping, I go for stuff that I can wear in different ways, If I'm buying a black shirt, I know I can pair it with like this color of jeans or whatever. It's the same way I also let my clients know that when I'm making dress styles, I'm a minimalist fashion designer. I go for styles that I can wear again. I'm making this dress and I'm thinking, can I wear it to church? Can I wear it for another event? Because drama is good and all of that, you also think of the fact that after this, can I use this dress? So when people come, I tell them, okay, even after we've done the drama, come back. We can take out this hand and you can make the dress more comfortable for other activities, work and church and all of that. So these are the things that I let my clients know when they come in, that make dresses that that you can use again. So we're not just packing clothes in our wardrobes that we'll never wear.
All right, so let's go to something very relatable.
Okay.
That's environmental disaster.
Yep.
How the circular fashion is actually helping. So I want to get your opinion on that. How has sustainable fashion been more than just about clothing? How has it helped in curbing environmental disaster and, of course, creating gender empowerment or even our health? I want to hear your.
Okay, talking about environmental disaster. First of all, when we pack trash, where does it end up? If you go online and watch videos, you will feel like crying because just think about the water life and the animals we have there. And then this fabric waste, a whole lot is just thrown into these places. It's definitely very harmful for the environment. Imagine having fabric that cannot degrade, like it's just there. It's just in the soil. It will never, as far as I'm concerned, it's harmful because some of these things are even made with chemicals that are not even good for. So for me, it's a problem that really needs a lot of solution. And sorry, what was your second question?
Oh, I think that's just it. Concerning our health, how has it really helped? Or what's going to be done to help the health system?
Advocating for it, left to me, I tell people, how can you be a part of my foundation? Honestly, it's not just about donating money. It's also speaking about it, letting people know that this is possible. Make dresses that you can wear again. Give out dresses to people. Don't go for certain kinds of dresses, Use the ones that that are not as harmful to the environment.
All right. So just a question to round it up now. You are walking the talk. You're not just talking theoretically.
Yes.
What can you say to people, other fashion designers, people who want to get into the business, who have this notion that trying to do things in the way you're doing it leads to higher costs, you're not going to get profits the way you should because you are so concerned about the environment that's not your business, What do you say to them to let them know that I'm not losing? In fact, there's some gain to be had in all of this.
First of all, I'm a firm believer of baby steps and growing, and that's kind of how I've been able to build my business for the last 10 years. I have grown from one level to another. And seeing that as money is very good and it's important, there are also important things like customer satisfaction, service, and just making the environment a better place. I'm also I'm a firm believer of impact. And I've been looking for ways to impact the environment with what I do. What other way to impact the environment than converting waste in the fashion house and giving back to less privileged people? I mean, like I told you, you come to my fashion house. Currently, we have been able to cut down a lot of waste because of what we are doing. Before you come, we don't even have space. You see pieces, half yard of fabric or 1 yard of fabric that we've sewn for the person maybe 5 years ago, just lying there. Whereas there are people that cannot even, for me, like I said, service. When you are ready to offer a service, just do something from your heart. You find joy in doing it. Money would come afterwards.
All right. Sorry, I have to slip in just one more question.
Okay.
Is there anything you would want governments, other bodies to do that could help you?
Yes, we need to support small businesses, especially our traditional and local designers, shoemakers, bag makers, those that are using natural stuff from Nigeria. I feel like we need to start carrying our heritage. And for you and me sitting down here, let's patronize these businesses. Those using Ashoke to make bags, shoes, let's patronize them and help them. Let's take Nigeria's name to another level.
Thank you so much.
You're
It's
welcome.
been so enlightening speaking with you.
You're
Anne.
Thank you.
All right, that's how we round off the segment. We've been speaking with Anne. She is the founder of La Sueta Fashion and La Sueta Foundation. And we do hope the tidbits she's dropped here are enough to cause more change and to ensure we cut down on fashion waste. All right, we'll go on a break now, and when we return, we will be going into our Verified Voices segment. Don't go anywhere. Every day, amazing stories of hope and tenacity unfold across the globe. On Hude Hour, we dive into these inspiring tales and discuss the vital work being done in the humanitarian and development space. Humanity has never faced a shortage of challenges, yet we rise stronger through teamwork and determination. Though these remedies are often underreported, on Hude Hour, we advocate sustainable solutions. We bring you the latest and most impactful news on how lives are being changed. We engage with young change makers and experts who provide valuable insights into relief efforts and the challenges faced by local communities through a global perspective. Join us every Wednesday by 8 a.m. on Hude Network's YouTube channel as we embark on this journey of positive change.
Culture connects us beyond borders. It's a bridge between traditions, creativity, and the future.
Culture is alive, shaping identities and communities every day.
Art tells stories of resilience and vision.
Artists blend tradition with innovation.
Cultural preservation creates sustainability and empowerment.
Culture evolves and adapts.
Music and dance unites communities through movement.
And right here, in the heart of our cities, artists and creators are keeping these cultures alive.
On Culture Cove, let's explore,
Celebrate
And preserve the arts and culture that define us. Welcome back. This is still Hude Hour right here on Hude Network. We are moving on to our Verified Voice segment. We've been joined by Hannah Omokafe Dennis. Hello, Omokafe, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm Adine. Hi,
good to see you.
Joe.
Hi, Cafe. You look caffeine.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. So what do you have for us today?
Okay, I do have, of course, sustainability fashion, which is Joan's favorite topic to talk on.
pleasure.
I see that she's radiating today, courtesy of her favorite topic. So I like the fact that Chile is doing a lot to ensure that the Atacama Desert is being cleared off and ensuring that no carbon and whatever it is happening there. I like that the government is ensuring that anybody who brings in any kind of used clothes is ensuring that they will recycle it, that they will also produce more, that whatever it is, their economy is definitely going to be receiving a lot of positive things as also regards their green energy in that place. So kudos to them. We're going to go straight into our Verified Voices number 1 for today, and it's talking about sustainable fashion, of course. And it's saying, this one is from Butte Monina, and she say, innovative materials in fashion, the future of sustainability. Innovation is reshaping fashion from recycled fabrics to plant-based dyes. Designers are turning to eco-friendly materials to reduce our carbon footprint and also keep our planet stylish. At the heart of this movement are innovation labs and incubators focused on low-carbon production methods and sustainable textiles development. Working with these pioneers allows us to push the boundaries of designs while protecting our planet. It's not just about looking good, it's about doing good. Let's work together to create a fashion future that is both chic and sustainable. Hashtag sustainable fashion, hashtag eco-innovation. Indeed, I know John would also find this very relatable when I say that when you want to dress in a very sustainable way, it's more expensive than dressing in a less sustainable way. But
when you want to dress in a sustainable way, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper
than dressing in an unsustainable way. You understand?
But then some people get to say, oh, they would disagree with you because they will tell you that sourcing for sustainable materials or materials that are good for the environment is far more expensive and harder to find compared to when you're just looking for an everyday material, compared to when you're just looking for things you can just import, from outside of the country.
I think the point
and
is
everything.
That it pays off in the long run.
Yes.
Similarly, when it comes to all things sustainable development, even renewable energy, it might seem a bit more expensive in the short term, but it pays off. So even when you take care of your environment, you're taking off the cost of treating yourself of hurting the environment. So in the long run, it will pay off and it will end up being more affordable.
Of course,
and for me, this is what we talk about. Is talk about innovation. Plant-based dyes, having low carbon production is all what we're talking about. And I do hope it scales across board. I will see more people getting into it.
Oh, it's scaling across board because in Nigeria here we have some sustainable fashion brands. Some of them like Inkwell Lab, another one like This Is Us NG, and they're ensuring that what they do with their materials, they are ethically sourced, they are also locally sourced, they are plant-based dyes, and a lot of other sustainable practices that ensures that reduction in waste. So that's a very good practice. We'll move straight into our second one, which is from the UN Environment Program, which is saying that ultimately the key to a sustainable future lies in radically thinking the way we should consume and use clothing and disrupting current business models. That means buying less and also means putting pressure on our fashion industry to solve differently. And to solve differently is placed in hashtags, so it means it's emphasized more. These days when you go on Instagram, you go on several social media platforms, you get to see that, that long sleeve that you kept in your wardrobe for a very long time and you intend to just throw it away into the floor or anything like that, you can re-innovate it to do something beautiful that somebody, a Gen Z out there, will say, oh, this is really cool. So these days, what we are promoting is the fact that you can have even 5 trousers and 10 blouses, and yet you can wear them in 20 ways, and nobody would be able to recognize that this is what you're wearing. You're putting on the same thing for a very long time.
I'm tempted to call you a fashion icon.
Please.
But anyways, it's still the same thing we are talking about. I just remembered what Amadine said earlier, that you can use a skirt to create something else, especially your mom's skirt, back then in the 90s.
Yes.
So it's everything is all about rethinking creatively about what you can use it to do. You know, how our guest talked about how those dramatic dresses, you know, traditional wedding dresses by brides and all, can actually be turned into something different or something simpler. Because, of course, where are you going to wear those kind of flamboyant dresses to?
Where? Which
So
car?
it's very, very important that we should take our creativity very, very, serious
And radical too.
Of
Indeed.
course.
Thank you so much, Shomo Cafe.
Thank you for having me.
For bringing us what Very Five Voices are saying on the matter. But that's our round of the program for today. Do join us next time right here on Hude Hour. We'll be bringing you more on the humanitarian and development space. See you next time. I am Amadine Obere.
And I am Jill Neze. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye for now.